Well, welcome, Geshe Sonam. Thank you so much for joining for this conversation. And for those who haven't yet had the chance to meet and learn from Geshe Sonam, he is an incredible, distinguished Tibetan Bon monk and scholar from the Mustang Valley in Nepal, one of the last places in the world that actually has an indigenous Bon population. It's a beautiful part right up in the top of Nepal. And at 9 years old, he actually went to Menri Monastery in India, where he received his extensive monastic education under the guidance of His Holiness the 33rd Menri Trinzin, and over 14 classical Tibetan language, Tibetan medicine, and so much more, graduating with the esteemed Geshe degree, which is kind of like an equivalent of a PhD. And all the while, he's also been playing a pivotal role in translating key Bondzogchen texts. So much of what we have worked with in the West have been part of his translations and has been instrumental in making so many of these practices and teachings accessible to a global audience. And also, Geshe Sonam returned to his homeland in Mustang, Nepal, where right now it's incredible. He's spearheading an extraordinary project there, which is one I was lucky enough to visit last year, was blown away by. And he's helping bring to life a very important vision that actually directly impacts all of you listening. It's very exciting, and it's something we'll talk about in the second half of the interview. But thank you again so much for joining us today, Geshe.
Thank you.
So to start, just to give a little context for your story and your education, what was it like, studying under His Holiness the 33rd Menri Trinzin? How did working with him guide and shape your path?
Oh, so I was there when I was 9, almost to 10, and my mom wanted me to become a monk, but my teacher says, "If you are too young to become monk because we have to follow the commitment." And he says, "I won't understand why and how and like that." So he wanted me to go to school to study, and means there I learned science, math, social geography, all this modern education, So because of that, now I could really speak English and understanding our global what people are doing, So that's why. And after finish the eighth grade, then I become a monk, And after I learned in school those science things, all, and then study the spiritual things like a born this, which is the most ancient, how say, religion of Himalaya. That, and then they teach about the many thousands back that this master been lot of research, and they doing what we are doing. That made me so surprised, and also not only the intellectual understand, but spiritually, uh, talking about the compassion, loving kindness, and different, like open minded or close minded, and all those teachings are teaching. Then it really drive me like feeling, wow, I got in a right place to really practice. To I can really. When I was young, I was quite short temper and I'm quite crazy. But then, after getting become a monk and being study and practice those, it's really calmed down me. So that's why, like my mother and my teacher been really supporting me and suggesting me to become a monk will be wonderful life. And then I really appreciate them and thanks them. So here I'm for sharing with everyone. Thank you.
And so it's interesting. So you saw how, I know with the Bond tradition, it's often described as being this kind of research and development center of the mind, that
Right.
the tradition and the lineage has been looking scientifically into how our mind works, how we are as humans. And with your history now of also studying sort of like the Western tradition, what do you think for Western students, as these teachings have gone out, what do you think has been the most of benefit for Western students with these teachings?
Yeah, I teach in how say in America, Australia, Europe, and all those places, what I see is like a people has lots of trauma and lot of pressure, lot of scare, and people look so difficult, and then they're looking for someone can heal them, someone can help them, and then they come across to me, and then we teach, we learn that also through my teachers guiding through the as a group in a monastery, that's everybody practicing, and we are also in a group, like a, so it's like a society, so how it impact on society like that. So those all my experience and the technique that really release those how say suppose like a trauma, we go to the root and listen from patiently listening them, and then they tell them that how you were caught up, how you doesn't let it go, and then how you many people are not living in present. They live either in future, worry about future, or they stuck with the past that what is wrong things done. And then many people don't understand what they got now and what a wonderful life they are having. So all this we try to enlighten them. And this is just for enlightenment, but really teach them a technique. So how mind can be calm and really absorption, really go into the concentration and focused. And they feel the spacious, openness and spacious. And that through that, and that all the loving kindness, trust are opening, So they found many of are really appreciate being that our teaching been come to West and really sharing with them. But I'm not, like we share our this technique to our Western Dharma friend, and they really now each year by year is increasing, and that's I think is really good for our Western Dharma friend. They are so much caught in materialism, and they understand now. Wow, always external looking, they are outward, they never been inward. So we have a technique to how to assess inwardly and how to produce the metacognition, and how we can live in a mindfulness. So those when they get and really appreciate and really helpful for them. I think this is, and also we translate many books from our Mustang Bond Foundation. From their support, we translate, and Dr. Dan Brown and me together, we translate 5, 6 books, and those are the very essence of our own ancient teaching in Himalaya, teaching how they really heal themselves and the spiritual way. So those been translated, and now with me, and we go really deep in with the experience. So everybody is so excited. Yeah,
I love that. I love what you're sharing, Geshe-la, around, as a Westerner who has experienced so much benefit from these practices, the
right,
the reversing of that perspective, like the perspective we have of, I must do this to get happy, get that to be happy, be that to be
right,
happy, all the trauma that we're repressing, ignoring. I've had so much benefit and appreciation for the intelligence and the skillfulness of these practices and training to support us to see that there are techniques and ways of working with our mind, working with our energy system that can help us to begin to heal from the inside instead of seeking, right? So
right, right,
I've seen that over and over. And I'm curious, I think a lot of us in the Western Sangha, whether it's Australia or Europe or America, not many people know how and why these bond teachings came to be available to us. Could you share a little bit about how and why these teachings are so available to us?
right. So this was happened, like this was in Himalaya from many thousands of years that this teaching been there, and then after these cultural revolutions came happen in Tibet, and then many high lamas of Himalayas and been escaped from their own uh, culture on land, and they have to flee. And then they came to India, and then you know it was really kind of end of the this how say science of mind was in very danger, but they work so hard, and then revitalize, even though it is in a different country, different culture, they work hard and they really train many geshes, many lamas, and then after this they train them, and then this they know just training there is getting less and less. So they thought, if we bring, because these teachings are really needed to western our dharma friend too. So because while we are in exile, there are many people are in exile, so they got lots of support from our western people. And then if they share us, we also should share them to what we have to the spiritual strength. And then slow by slow, we try to share, we try to translate so that our Western Dharma friend can understand, So this how say urgencies that if we don't do in this period like a millennium or this age, if we don't work hard on that, and this can be gone. So therefore these lamas and these geshes been sent to the West by those Lama, so that this teaching can be really one. Our Western Dharma friend really needed it because it is so much caught up by the materialism. And then another hand, we want to be protected it, like a save it, even it is a different language, in international language, which is in English. So we translate that. So even some reason it doesn't alive in the Himalaya or East, but this can be how to survive in the West. And also we all together we can enjoy this. So to really keep going, because these teachings are so important for the humanity, so these masters struggles, and even there's how say uh, difficulties of their preserving and all those things. They train their monks, and then we come here to really available for the Western Dharma friend, and so that this teaching deeply stay here, so that anyone can practice and help for the humanity, so that way we have a project called revitalizing in its own origin, and also bringing to the West, and our West and East can support each other. If from East we bring the spiritual, and West support them to revitalizing there. So that's what we are trying to share each other. It's a mutual benefit. It's not a only one-sided benefit. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important. So many of us who practice in the West who maybe haven't visited Nepal or haven't visited, Mandarin in India, it can be hard to understand sometimes how precious this is and also how fragile it is
Right.
because, what happened in Tibet and having so many of the monasteries destroyed and the people pushed out, to preserve the incredible history, the texts, but also, the oral teachings, this is very important. And I know you have been working so hard to help do this. I think for many in the West, they don't realize that this is actually such an important moment that we
Yeah.
can all participate in order to protect the teachings, preserve the teachings, but also to keep, like you were sharing, to keep that incredible tradition of learning and thinking and developing practice that has been helping humanity. So
Yeah.
this is a great chance, to introduce this amazing project that you are helping spearhead in Mustang, Nepal, which is the Shenten Thagye Ling monastery project. And, this, for those who don't have context for this, there is, for the last, I mean, I guess like 12 years, there has been really a collaboration between, like Geshe was saying, Western Sangha and the root of these traditions to try and create a powerful, consolidated home base for these practices. So maybe, Geshe, could you start just by sharing a little bit of what was the inspiration behind this idea of building, a monastery, a cultural center, and a place for monks and children and the clinic? What's the vision behind it?
Yeah, so since when I was 9, I was under my teacher, and like my father or my mother, he was the kind of my parent and spiritual parent, also like a spiritual master. So he really guided and how to become a educated life and how to understand how say spiritualisms, not like a blind faith or not like an extreme one, not like that. So he really tried to, he never tell us that he's doing something for me, but he is like a symbol, just showing, he really patient, he is so much sharing, he got lot, and but he give everything to other and sharing and really using for education and enlightening the core of this science of mind, this teaching, like how this can be help to many people, how to serve this for other. So that reason he came to India, and then he established this monastery. It's totally different culture, different language, and within that difficulties, he stood up, he trained, he helped to preserve and educate others to make a better person, like a better human, like on this earth, we need a how's a good person, like a really kind and like a open, that kind of quality of human being we need a healthy human being. We don't need a sectarian, like oh, this is this is that, divided by the religion, divided by the location, divided geographical, not like that. That's all are the creating so much tensions and problem on earth. So my teacher been kind of main inspiration I got from him. If he could do, which is not his land, he had nothing from zero. He could start up and could do that. Mustang is my birthplace, is my place. From the house beginning, it was in a Tibetan culture, it was in a Tibetan language, and still now it's going on. So that's why His Holiness the Dalai Lama used to say, if you want really to our Western people, if you really want to see how the Tibet was look like before this cultural revolution, so you go to Mustang, you can see still it is alive. So he says how important this to be keep going. So therefore, after my all education that I got all these teachings, so I thought this is my duty to serve, to follow my teacher path. So then I come back, and then we met the Mustang Bond Foundation, like through the house, Dr. Dan Brown, and then we work together. We teach in West, we translate the books, and then through that, so we start something about like a 30 children that we have only children. Our main idea is to educate first, It's not about this religion and that religion, even though I'm come from particular religion, but that's the not important part. Really educate. So till last like 12 years, we've been educating, and we got now 74 children, so from 30 we got 74 children, slow by slow, we increasing, we make sure those children get the right education, right care. And because of my own how say life experience, I went so far from my homeland, and then I was so much like in my relations of connection, affection between my parent and me was so difficult. I was come back. I was so excited. I'm come back to my homeland, and I excited with my relative, but I was changed, and they don't see me, and then I don't recognize them. They don't recognize me. I felt like I'm a stranger there. So this kind of really hard situation was there. So I don't want to be separate, spread the parent and children. So that's why I just we set up school there, and then children comes. It's very close to their parent. In a year, we have 2 month winter vacation, extreme cold. So they stay with parent and spend with parent, and others time, sometime 10 days like that, we send them. Other than that, they need to study, practice, and stay with us. And we don't force them any to become a monks. Till now, we don't did. But then local people really want this teaching is so important. That's why you guys are working for that. We want to train our children also how you get. So our main idea is this teaching, as you said, that like a Geshe mean PhD on our Bon philosophy, Bon practice, like not only philosophy, really in this 14 years training after the school, 14 years training is like a study and also practice together. Those practice and study goes together, and that's how we really how say we can change ourselves and make a meaningful our life. So therefore they want same thing. So that's we don't want to be go far away. So this Shenten Thagye Ling is looking for that people can get there and get the practice, get the study of this, that what I get. And also not only in for East, even our Western Dharma can come in that monastery, study, practice, So we
I think
got,
that's so important, Geshe Lais. What you're sharing is, I think, to really reinforce is this idea that, you know, the the Bon tradition was taken out of its home, and
right,
to travel to Menor India so far, I think it's hard sometimes to imagine for people, but
right,
imagine that your whole center of your culture, of your language, of your teachings was far away from where you're actually from. And
right,
so this project that you're creating is to re-centralize, to bring back the heart and the center, to build this incredible monastery that can house 100 monks, can create a permanent home for all the children you care for. So having 100 children plus, a clinic where they can research all the incredible Tibetan medicines, have, like you said, as our Western practitioners come to stay on retreat to learn from the advanced, geshes and the Rinpoche, to really access that, but to have this where you're connected to your actual community, because in the Mustang area is all the indigenous Bon population. And I know you've mentioned many times to me, Geshe-la, around the importance of the education, especially because of the Tibetan language and so many of the teachings requiring and needing there to be people who speak the Tibetan language. And that was kind of dying out. So maybe
right,
just to share a little about, the importance of, of how these children are being educated in a way that they can become future geshes and become
right.
future rinpoches if that's what they choose to do.
Right. So, like we got both, like a secular study And also this what I studied also, like the Bon philosophy and practice too. So they can choose. It's no, as my teacher gave me totally freedom of choosing me, I'm also providing that to all those children if they want to be. But from the beginning, we make available for them, and then we try to educate them how important Tibetan how say study is, because this all Buddhisms and bonds, these teachings that been so, all these canons and many how say past masters and present masters, they've been written in Tibetan. This all signs of like teachings, signs of mind, our teaching are in Tibetan. So because of that, Tibetan are how say what you call exalted. So there is how say exile. So they are not very struggling to really preserving it and then really getting to children to know the Tibetan. If we don't know the Tibetan, this teaching will be gone. So therefore, we want to be those children learn the Tibetan, and also not only learning Tibetan language, but also practice, understand this spiritual. So therefore, first we thought we will help them till to the 10th grade. But then it is because they have to learn the how say secular study, like a global study as everybody does in school. Then plus, then we need to study our own mother tongue, which is a Tibetan, mother tongue and culture and practice and prayers and like that. So they got so many things to learn. So these two together, and then we because many of children them our parents are poor, they can't support, that's why they come to ask us to help them, so if we just stop at the 10th grade, and then they can't do further education, and then what we've been providing them, supporting them, is not so helpful in their life, so therefore we, also this Tibetan study and practice also not so deep in. So what we does is that we, like a higher school and college, like a bachelor to do the bachelor, we want to support them, and then
And you support right now, we have, I mean, you
yeah,
have a group of kids about who are in Johnson, who are the younger children. You take care of them every day. They're learning English, Nepali, Tibetan, plus all the kind of regular subjects and their prayer and the meditation practice. I know you take care of that. Then you have a group of high school students who are deepening their education, and especially with Tibetan, being able to have more immersive experience. And then after that, you've also got, students who are moving into higher education and also into choosing to train as monks and nuns in order to, I mean, thinking from the perspective of the future generations, without those children creating the culture, whether it's as lay people support, like who speak Tibetan, who
right.
know the practices, who are connected to the monastery, but also those young women and men who are dedicated to the spiritual path. And without that, there is no future for any of
Right.
these teachings for us,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So yes, and this is really true. We got a big infrastructure, like to be having temple and clinic and guest house and multiple how say hall for the local, for the monk, for the children. So these all are for. It's not for building. The core inside, the spirit inside of them is children and monks, and then local people, or and our Western Dharma friend, who comes, is a kind of center that the everybody comes and practice and study and then revitalize, or how to this teaching, this mind, science of mind can be keep going. So therefore, as you said in Pokhara, we is a more city of second city of Nepal there, and then we sending them to college. That some are learning forestry, some are IT like that, and some are how say bachelor in account or bachelor business study, business account like that. So no, but this is the secular education. But with that, we teach them our Tibetan like a meditation practice, and like a meditation from sutra, tantra, that visualizing the deity, so they can understand how spiritualism and like a secular and like a to get together, and then make better life, like a not only science, like a materialism only, but really being in how say spiritual, those two together, so they will come very healthy person, and that's the what we want to support them, and they live in Pokhara, and they have also, we also more time to train them, as a we making them to stay in a retreat, a month retreat like that. So really kind of, it's not just a teaching 1 hour a day, not like that. After they study that, and they go to go to the retreat, and we check how deep they get. So this is not only for nuns and monks, is for everybody. So our bond teaching is not necessarily nuns and monks for. Anyone can practice,
And it's incredible. I mean, I think if I'd had the opportunity as a young person, this is like young people, 15, 16, to do
Right,
practice like that, I think anyone listening, I hear this all the time from people in the Sangha thinking, like, what would it have been like to build this into the education of children? What if we had learned from a young age
right,
about how to work with our own minds, about how to go deep, how to create compassion, how to create peace? And I really respect that, with what you're building with this incredible project, and as you're supporting all these children, that this is being woven in. I think I've also heard you share around, with this project, it really is building a consolidated home base for these teachings. So, thinking again about having a monastery where monks and children are living together in a teaching monastery, and these kids that you're raising are going to school on the monastery, they're able to have full cultural support, full immersion, and full care. We then have the incredible Tibetan doctor who right now helps to care for the children, having the clinic, we'll have a medical clinic on site as well, which has all the Tibetan traditional medicines. And we have, conversations with different universities around potentially studying those because they've never been investigated before. Plus all the texts that have never been translated. I know there's a big list of texts that have not yet been translated into English. There's so much work to be done with this vision. I
right.
just, a question of, what's at stake if we don't get this done? What could we lose if we don't make this happen?
Right. So I need really support from our Western Dharma friend and Western people, so that this important project is not like a me or East or West. It's not about that. It's for the humanity. We need to build a very healthy earth, like to be a healthy world. So that healthy world, just talking is doesn't work. We need to really, how say, put seeds and seedling inside the people to really educate, and not only educating, really let them to practice, and how to become a kind person, better person, so that they can live with really happiness in this earth, being a really not harming other, you know how say, enjoy their life, helping other, how we can be like a better person, better reason why we are here, to understand that what I'm doing, why I'm here. So these all questions, who am I? I am to understand this. I really observed myself, assessed myself, and I understood the quality of my life, quality of like, am I really, how's the pressure and untrust, lot of suffering, lot of pain?
Mm.
Why it is? Because I have no spiritual understand. I don't learn and how say science of mind. I don't understand the spiritual. So I got the how say this secular education, but that secular education is not enough. Really being inside to be how to learn, how to meditate mindfulness, how to meditate kindness, how to meditate. So this positive quality, kindness, compassion, openness, generosity, selflessness, like if people are so self-centric, and then himself or herself is also in pain and making other also in a problem. So this spiritual teaching will be totally free us from that, and then learn, wow, wow, if I could do this, this is a great, meaningful of, I think this is the why I'm here, to really support this, to how flourish. So I need a support for, because to if I don't that don't those clinic, those school, those monastery, so where everybody can come and get this practice, get these educations, and then they go back to their own place and then flourishing to be how to be a better person and then share the spiritual, So that's I really need help to finish this, project construction also, but also that these children that are in the higher school, some are very talented, they have ability, but because of I don't have enough money to support them, they couldn't go to better school, so they got healthy, how say, spiritual, but and they got the talent also, but I can't provide them to enough financial support. I'm really looking
Yeah.
to all our Dharma friend or everyone can help us to really come true this dream and flourish this, how say, spiritual and how say, this teaching all over the world. That's the what.
And especially how you share, Geshe, like this is a vision that is for all of us. And I've
Yes,
heard you share this, that this
right,
is a vision where by protecting these teachings
right,
and creating a home where the practice can continue, where the study
right,
can continue,
right,
where, the children who are the next generation are given opportunities to
right,
learn their own language and to learn their practices and to be healthy and safe and to
right,
have a flourishing culture, which then, I mean, anyone listening to this, think about the benefit these practices have given us already. I mean, in this crazy world where everyone is, we see that the challenges we're facing in the West, these teachings are so, so precious and so important. So for those who are listening, I just want to say, the Shenten Thagye Ling Monastery project, which Geshe-la has been speaking about, this is the future home for the children that Geshe cares for. We hope to expand to. There's a waiting list of families who are, hoping to have the opportunity to send their children into an educational structure like this to be supported. And this project is offering a real tangible pathway for the preservation and continuation of these teachings. They've done an amazing job. I went last year. They've already opened and launched this extraordinary temple, and they're now partway through building the retreat center and the clinic. But we're in a few different phases of how this is going to work. But this is really the future of where the Geshes and the Rinpoches are going to come from this lineage that we are so lucky to benefit from. So we really do. We need our global Sangha's support. And whether you're someone who's listening to this and you're in a position to partner with us in a big way and to help complete the whole project, or if you're listening to this and you're someone who can give even just a little bit of invaluable support to the children that Geshe cares for, to help them to, continue to have access to the education that they have, the safety that they have. I mean, if you've ever felt the benefit of this lineage, I just say this is a really important moment to participate. And we have so many different pathways of how you can do that, whether it's dedicating one of the 500 remaining golden Buddhas to place in the temple, which helps to
Right.
support the project, or
Yeah.
supporting the care of a child and their education, or helping us build their permanent home. Just whatever way you could contribute, it makes a really big difference. And in this moment, it really matters. And so, on behalf of all the incredible human beings who are working so hard to make this project for all of us, I invite you, you can explore the different ways that you can support us below and to choose if you can help us make these children thrive and to bring this vision to success. And Geshe, just one last question for you. Thank you again for your time, but one last question. Reflecting on your whole journey, your life, what brings you the most fulfillment in your work?
Yeah, and this is two things, one in West and one in East. Like in West, many Dharma friends are really reaching me and says, please come here, teach us and teach us this technique. And people are really enjoying. So we are getting bigger and bigger, this group, and we becoming very friendly to each other. They really feel that healed and like that, because of right now people are so much scared and problem, and like everywhere in the earth, like so much going, so much problem, and then people are really chaos and don't understand what it is. So when we teach these meditations, when we teach this, how say, teaching this how to how say invoke the trust and invoke the how say practicing like this loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness, all this teaching, then they become really, like a softened down, like a very peace, so these are, I'm really happy to see in West, and also they enjoy the book that which I guided, or we guided together with our Dharma teacher in West together, and then they enjoy those books, and day by day getting better and better, and also in the East. So when I see these children that who is grown up, who are in a bachelor, like a, studying in bachelor degree, that's in a college fourth years, I have student there. They are so, when I see them, how they collaborative, how they like work together. It's not like it's so selfish, it's come together. It's not talking mine, me, mine, not like that. Ours, we, and how we can like integrate to each other, how we can support to each other. And they're getting very good, and now they can work, and even they go for their work in any office they go, they will teach them, like how to be integrate together, how to be ethical, how to be like focused in the work, and then how we understand each another feeling, respecting to each another feeling. So I see that within them. So those are like a children, and then people that when recently in September we opened the monastery, as inaugurate that, and then His Holiness the 34th and His Eminence Mary Pino Rinpoche, my both teachers, came there, and everybody from all Mustang, all over from the Mustang. We didn't how say expect that that much will come, but so many people comes and they work together. Everybody collaborating, and then from many from the our Dharma friend and donors, everybody comes there. It's really, I felt wow. It's not only dream, it's coming true. So, but I need more to like to complete this. To actually, this is not mine or our board. This is the, what my teacher want us to do. To anyway, we need to use our life for something meaningful. And my teacher say, you can use that way so that we can become whoever connecting here, even a dollar comes to us. We are the part of this, who give big, wonderful, and so much impact on that. Even a dollar who gives, we become the one group part of this wonderful that path that our spiritual teacher showing, and we follow that, and then we will obviously feel the meaningful life. So I think that's the what I'm really seeing that. Thank you.
Geshe, thank you for sharing everything, and thank you again for the work that you do, both every day with your care of all the children that you take care of, the teachings that you share with us all around the world. Building that center for all of humanity. It has been such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
So much. Thank you.